The U.S. Senate has approved the Obama administration's record $636 billion defense measures. Well, it includes almost $130 billion to fund current operations in Iraq and Afghanistan, and was cleared by an overwhelming 88 senators in favour, whilst just 10 voted against. Well, for more on this, let's cross to Priya Sridhar, who's in Washington for us. Hello to you, Sridhar. Or rather, Priya there. American politicians, well, they can't seem to agree much on anything lately, can they? But the colossal cost of war seems to unite Republicans and Democrats.
Yes, it's very interesting, Alice. And, you know, many people have their eyes on this bill to see if we can find out more about how the United States plans to wage war in the future. And joining me to help talk about this is Kevin Barron from the Stars and Stripes newspaper. Kevin, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So first of all, I want to ask you, help break down this $636 billion for me. Could we look at this budget and see how the United States might plan to fight wars in the future?
Well, more than wars in the future, I think Secretary Gates is focused on the wars that the troops are fighting now, and that's what he said all year long. He didn't want to look at the maximum possible threats of countries out there that would cause major air wars, major ground wars. He wanted to give them the equipment that they needed now, and he got a lot of wins in cutting some of those programs he didn't want.
And, it looks like the Pentagon is looking to beef up its MRAPs to protect soldiers from IEDs, and it's also increasing its use of drones. At the same time, it's kind of cutting back on other more conventional types of technology like F-2 Raptors. I mean, does this mean that the United States is looking to fight wars that are more against insurgent groups as opposed to an enemy state?
Well, it means that I think that they need that equipment to fight these current wars more immediately than in the future. They cut the F-22, but they still kept the F-35, which is supposedly a more useful, more advanced fighter. The F-22 was really an air-to-air thing imagined to fight these air-to-air wars against other countries that would have that similar capability that, according to Gates and the Pentagon right now feels they just aren't going to have to face that anytime in the future. They really do need things like MRAPs or the new MATV, a lighter version of the MRAP in Iraq that's designed just for Afghanistan to get that war going.
And, President Obama has repeatedly said that he wants to cut back on spending across the board, yet this is one of the biggest military budgets in compared to previous years. I mean, a lot of the money here is going towards things, weapons and other kinds of technology, but it also seems like there's money in this bill that's going towards building solar panels on military housing units. I mean, at a time when we're fighting two wars, the United States is fighting two wars, and it's a recession. I mean, is this the best time to be buying solar panels?
Right. Well, there are over 1,700 earmarks in this bill that watchdog groups like Taxpayer for Common Sense have identified. The good news that these groups say is that this is actually less than previous years. The chairman of the House Appropriations Subcommittee himself sponsored more than 20 of them. But with combining the earmarks with reduction in contracting and some wasteful spending, the Obama administration says that they can balance this out. And there's one of the leading think tanks that has fed a lot of the key leaders in the Pentagon, the Center for New American Security, just came out with a report themselves saying if you cut back on 10 of these programs that they say are really Cold War era programs, that itself would pay for the surge in Afghanistan, which was not included in this bill.
So do you think the $636 billion will cover the escalation of the 30,000 troops going over there?
Well, it won't, and it doesn't. I mean, that will have to be something new next year.
Great. Well, Kevin, thanks so much for joining me. We'll certainly be keeping you updated on everything related to Afghanistan, as always. But for now, Alice, I'm going to throw it back to you in Moscow.
Okay, many thanks to you, Priya, and your guest over there. Many